What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's edition of Free Tool Friday. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we create generational wealth and impact for entrepreneurial accountants by systemizing how you attract, win, and retain the business of your dream clients. And to help you to do just that, I am sharing with you the 3 best networking tactics for accountants to get clients. Yes, we were talking about in-person networking. We know we have a huge emphasis on digital, but keep this in mind. Your digital strategies are meant to complement your in-person marketing strategies and vice versa. Neither one of these live in a bubble. They're meant to be complementary and to help you to improve your in-person skills. I'm going to share with you 3 things that I have seen work incredibly well in-person networking. Before I jump into that, I just want to say one thing about in-person networking. Please choose the networking events that you go to with a purpose. In other words, why attend the networking event that you are looking to attend? And I say this because if you want to be a generalist, in other words, if you want to fight tooth and nail against commoditization, BNI and the chambers are going to be your places to go, because there's just going to be a hodgepodge of a bunch of different people of all different industries that are at those events. That's the nature of those types of networking events. But if you go specifically to real estate meetups and you target real estate professionals and you go there and you're very specific with who you're for, what you do, and why it matters, the time you invest in these events will yield you what you are looking for, which brings me to the very first tactic that I like to deploy during in-person networking events. And it is this: tell them what you want and tell them what you do not want. In other words, you must always be communicating to the market who you are for and who you are not for. So if you go to a real estate event, and let's say I'm specific in real estate, just because you're there, that it does not mean that tip number 1 has been completed. You must tell them, I am for, you might not work with real estate agents. You might only work with real estate investors. You might do only property managers and nothing else. And so tell them, I do this. This is who I'm for. And these are the services that we render. And these are the ones that we do not. So that it is crystal clear, again, who you're for and what you do not do as well. Saves you a lot of time in the long run. Second thing, what's the single most important word to every single person? It's their own name. It's their own name. And in networking events, right, you go, oh, it's so great to meet you, Bob, Bill, Joe, what was it again? And 10 seconds later, it's just gone, right? Like the most important information you could possibly have, then their name tags flipped around, or there are no name tags. And you're just like, now you're thinking, well, what if I can't remember their names. You're like not even paying attention to the conversation anymore. So the best way to prevent this from happening is whenever someone tells me their name and they're clearly the type of person that I want to be working with, I know they're a high quality individual, I'm not listening to the next 10 seconds of conversation. I'm just not. So like if you ever meet me in person and I'm like, okay, you're one of my dream clients, the next 10 seconds, I will not hear a word you say, because I'm literally just repeating your name. I'm just like, okay, Bill. And then the first thing that comes out of my mouth, right, is going to be your name. I'm like, hey, Bill, I just wanted to confirm. You said that you were, in fact, a real estate property manager, correct? And then it's like, right? It's like, and he's like, oh, wow, he remembered my name. And it's like, did I remember his name? So now it's like you've almost like inversed that, and you've created this almost this immediate sense of reciprocity just by having the presence of mind to remember somebody's name. It's such an easy networking tactic that is so easy to overlook, but it is so powerful. So please understand that that's one of the easiest ones you can do, and it means so much to people when you remember their names. The third one, okay, and now this is when we're moving a little bit from the more conversational aspect into more of a little bit of let's establish our value proposition. And this is also what I like to do when you're like, if you've ever been to BNI, I'm not a huge fan of BNI, but if you've ever been to BNI, you have the opportunity to like stand up, right? And some people have this like funny song and dance. I remember this one guy I can't remember his name. That's ironic. Probably because I didn't really want to buy his services. But the point is, he would always get up and he would do a movie quote, and then he would make everyone guess what the movie was from, and that was memorable. And it was cool, and he got a decent amount of business from the community because he did something that was memorable in the context of the group. But the reason I bring this up is that when you have the chance to engage either in a one-on-one setting or in that group setting, what I like to do is, as opposed to make definitive statements like I am an accountant and this is the thing that I do, or I'm a bookkeeper, or I'm an advisor, outsourced CFO, whatever title you prescribe to yourself. I think you're an entrepreneur first, just to be clear. Whatever you do is make sure that there is a question in your presentation or in your introduction or in your one-to-many approach, because what you're looking to do is you're trying to just plant the seed of, do they know the answer to this meaningful question? And if they do not, the second part of the final tip here is make sure they know how to get the answer to that question by making a soft offer to connect with you. So again, just kind of like summarize that. You ask a powerful question, either in group or in one-to-one settings. And then you offer a simple call to action. In other words, what's the next possible step that someone could take to be able to gain access to this answer and your expertise by extension? So I have three here to use as examples, which are kind of like three archetypes. One's on tax, one's on accounting/bookkeeping, and the other one's on advisory. So you might want pen and paper. For tax. So if I'm a tax professional, I stand up, hey, my name's I'm from so-and-so. And I've got one quick question to ask everybody in this room. What tax saving strategies have you implemented in the last 6 months? If you struggle to know the answer to that question, I encourage you to come up and speak to me so that we can schedule a one-on-one call so you can get clarity on such an important question, right? It's super simple. Very powerful. And most people, even if they have maybe a good person who's doing taxes in some capacity, maybe even some level of tax planning, they were going, I'm not really even sure, because a lot of people do great work, but they fail to communicate the benefits of that great work to their clients. And so there can be opportunities there, even if the great work is being done. It always comes back to how frequently you're communicating those results so that it sticks in our clients' minds so that they don't want to walk away and work with somebody else. Accounting and bookkeeping. All right, my name's this is what, all right. Do you know how well you measure up against industry benchmarks related to your overall profitability and costs? Now, this is, of course, exceptionally more powerful if you use one of my favorite terms, niche or niche. Riches are in the niches, right? Because then you can actually compare them very easily against industry benchmarks because you have a deeper set of knowledge. That's how you also stop commoditization. You have a deeper set of knowledge in that space, and you can't compare your services against just another accounting firm services because your depth of knowledge is so much greater than a generalist. So that's one of the ones that I love to use, and that applies for a lot of archetypes, not just accounting and bookkeeping. That's a really useful question. And then the third one is related to the advisory side of things, right? And so whenever you hear me talk about how you can better establish your value proposition, one of the things that I try and always make clear is what are the reasonable alternatives, right? Like what is the other things that you could be doing? And so this question is meant to tie into what are the alternatives of someone that's looking for, engaged in, wants CFO services, right? Like what are they typically thinking, right? And so this is usually the one, right? So, hey, my name's Tyler, from so-and-so high-level accounting advisory services. And I've got one quick question for all of you. Do you want the value of a CFO at a fraction of the cost? Because if the answer to that question is yes, you should come up and talk with us about our fractional CFO services, right? So again, it's like most people who are looking for CFO level services aren't quite at that $5 million up in category quite yet, where they're saying we can afford an in-house CFO for $150,000 or $250,000 a year salary. But they're saying we still want all the vast majority of the benefits that come from that type of service. So when you're getting ready to try and establish your value proposition, to me, it always comes back to is what's the powerful question that you are asking that will stick in someone's mind, maybe not immediately, but will make them go, I do want that. Or, I don't know what my taxes saving strategies have been in the last 6 months. Or, I should know where I fall in terms of industry benchmarks for my profitability and my overall cost. Oh, that's interesting, right? And now you've got a meaningful opportunity to take them from just another person that's randomly in sort of a networking event, and you can move them into a meaningful conversation where you can ultimately turn them into a paying client. And of course, if you have digital strategies to complement this on the back end, right? It's like you get all the contact information either from the event itself or from actually connecting with the people. And then what do you do afterwards? You don't just like let it sit on your phone or sit in like, a wonderful notebook at that. Shout out to the Dream Firm leaders out there in our Create Your Dream Firm program. You don't just let it sit there, right? You actually do something with it. And so now this is where you take that information, you leverage it, you get more touch points online. They start seeing more of the things that you're putting out there on social, potentially via email. And now the odds that they think of that question, think of you and the positive experience they had with you, see the professionalism you have online, the odds that they want to work with you all go up, right? And that's the name of the game for marketing overall. So that concludes today's Free Tool Friday. Just a quick summary of the 3 best tactics for those who joined us a little late on the live. Number 1, tell them who you are for and who you are not for. Make it clear to the market what you're looking for and what it is that you do and what you do not do and who you are not for. Okay. If we ever get what we don't want, it's usually because we're not communicating what we do want clearly enough. Number 2 is the most important thing to anybody is their name. So the first time you hear someone's name in a networking setting, just repeat it in your head like 11, 15 times. And then the first thing out of your mouth should be that person's name and a meaningful question, which brings me to number 3, which is the meaningful questions. If you are having the opportunity to network, what you want to do is have staying power after the networking event ends. And the only way you have staying power is through powerful questions. So I hope you enjoyed today's Free Tool Friday. Remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. And I will see each and every one of you for next week's Free Tool Friday.